Hi, this is Chris with Wiley Development and Tasty Equity. Welcome to the highlight reels from our monthly webinar series. We added self-pour alcohol to our Rapid Fire Pizza restaurant because we're huge beer fans. We believed it would be a growth opportunity. More than a growth opportunity, it has turned out to be a chance to change the dynamics of the restaurant and even create a date night environment on Fridays and Saturday nights. In this segment, we're going to share our results, including incremental food sales and the opportunity to create better profit margins and higher dollar per ticket.
These are a couple of quick takeaways before Darren goes into a real deep dive, but what we found is a real potential for dollar per ticket increases. How it might work in your business, we can't guarantee, and I'm not here to sell you a self-pour. I'm just telling you what I did. Well, our next slide goes to the data too, the notion of the leaderboard. But before I jump into that, go ahead, Darren, and tell us a little bit more about what the sales is and where these numbers come from.
Well, this is the part I love so much because, we've been in this business since 2012, and we've really ramped up and developed this market. Since about the end of 2015, 16, it's really started to grow. But what we're very excited about is we've poured over 125 million ounces through the iPour It system. And when you look at the magnitude of that for our operators, because we know the average sales price across the board, we've generated over $68 million of top-line revenues for our operators. And so when you just think of that, it's just really exciting. I know it's not a lot right now. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity for this self-serve across the country and across various markets, but that's critical to being successful and understanding that. Going back to what Matt Plapp had mentioned, we've counted all of our unique patrons, and so we know over 8.5 million unique patrons have checked in and used our systems. And because we're all over the country, not just in this region, in the Ohio region, but throughout the country, every single one of these locations have their own type of beers and breweries. So we have over 32,000 beverages in our library that we manage. And we spend a lot of time and effort to make sure that this is done right for a perfect operation and an absolutely perfect patron experience.
But this chart was one that we prepared for our internal investors as we were evaluating how many taps to put in each installation. Pete and I had a square footage limitation when we did our Bowling Green store, and we ended up at 18 taps because that's what we could, lose 2 tables and get a beer wall or thereabouts. But when after that started to go very well, we did a deep dive and went out and interviewed a bunch of operators. And these are a mixture of our actual data. For example, on the 18 tap example, the second bar, that's an 18 tap installation, which is ours. And we average 3.7 beers poured per customer. They go to 3.7 taps on average and pull the handle, typically pouring the pour size you see is 5.2 ounces. But as we started talking to larger and larger operators, and they would go, hey, let me go look at the report real quick. And they would report back what they had. And the reality is that it is a multiplying effect. The customers out at the 60 tap installations, which might have 12 taps of wine and some mixed drinks, they're actually trying 5 or more handles, right? They're trying more stuff. And Pete said he loves sampling. I can tell you I was in a Chicago self-pour installation about a week ago, and I couldn't drink anymore after I got past the 6 taps that I wanted to try, right? But it would have been nice to have cold pressed coffee. But in fast casual, one of the reasons people come down to fast casual, all the surveys say they're on the move, right? They're going to dinner, they're picking up the kids, they're on their way home from work. They want to pick out what they want, and by the way, even with our amazing variety, they pick the same thing every time. Customers are very redundant. But in the same fashion, when they realize they could just grab a beer, literally the minute their beer is finished, the minute their pizza's finished or their burrito's finished, they're leaving the restaurant. So they don't want to wait for a bartender. They don't want to wait to be served. And we didn't invent it. We're just adding alcohol into an environment where the customer doesn't want to wait. And on the flip side and the fun side of that, Darren, the shop in Minneapolis, first draft that we went to, when that shop gets revved up, and that's a tap room, a big tap room, right, 50 some odd taps, when it gets revved up, people are shoulder to shoulder at the wall. You simultaneously have 10, 12, 15 people pouring at the same time. There's no waiting. I can't overemphasize how important that is. Same thing at Brewport Tap Room in Culver City, right? It is wall-to-wall people, and that's where I got the idea of the boxes, right? When people there just grab a box of flight glasses, walk down, scan the tablets, and click handles till they've got 4 full and go back to their table. Absolutely amazing new way to do this. Again, check us out on the Wiley Development Group Facebook and or Wiley Development Group YouTube channel. You can watch recordings of these events.